In order to solve this equation by factoring, the first thing I need to do is take this polynomial here and just factor it. The way we're going to go ahead and factor that is to factor out the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is x, so we'll factor that out. And then in parentheses, we'll write what's left over, which is x minus 3. Close those parentheses. We still need to set that equal to 0. That's the only way that this can actually work, is if it's equal to 0. So we'll set it equal to 0. Here's the thing. The only way you can multiply two factors and get 0 is if one of them is 0. So we're going to go ahead and set each one of these equal to 0 so that we can solve. So either this first factor is equal to 0, or the second factor is equal to 0, or both of them are 0. So that's how we're going to go ahead and start this. So we have x equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. And then now that we have two more simple equations, we'll solve each one of those for x. This first equation is already solved for x, so I don't really need to do anything for that. Second equation is not solved for x. I am going to have to actually add 3 to isolate x. That's only legal if I do the same thing to the other side. And so I end up with x equals a positive 3. And so those are our two solutions. That's my answer. If you're interested in checking that, just to make sure that it's right, I would recommend checking, especially on a test. And so you want to practice checking before you take the test so that you're really good at it by the time you actually get to the test. We start off by taking the original equation, so x squared minus 3x equals 0. And then we're going to have to do two checks. We're going to check 0 first, and then we'll check 3. So first one is at x equals 0. And you're just going to plug in 0 for x. So instead of x squared, I'm going to have 0 squared. And then instead of minus 3x, I'm going to have minus 3 times 0 and equals 0. And so notice we're just plugging in x. We're plugging in 0 everywhere there's an x. So here and here. And then we're going to just simplify that. So 0 squared is 0, and 3 times 0 is 0, so minus 0, and so 0 equals 0. So this actually checks. So we're done with that check. And then we would do this again for x equals, what was our other solution? 3. And so again, instead of x, I'm going to write a 3. So I have 3 squared minus 3, and then instead of my x, I'm going to write 3 equals maybe 0. I'm actually not sure if it equals 0, so I'll put a little question mark here. Probably should have done that over here as well, because we have to actually determine whether that's true. So 3 squared is 9, minus here 3 times 3 is 9. I still need to see whether that equals 0, and sure enough, 0 equals 0. So both of these solutions work, and it's a good thing to check just to make sure we did it right. Thanks.